Comrade John, if you can hear me, please confirm. Comrade Samuel, can you go on that for me? Good afternoon. Yeah. We're gathered this afternoon to pay tribute to a great Nigerian, a Pan-Africanist extraordinary, Professor Jibo Ibrahim, once described Baba upon his demise as he referred to Baba Omojola as son of Karl Marx, son of Ifa, and of course, you can call Baba son of many other things, or many other people. In 2013, Baba died at the age of 75 after he had led a glorious life. As you all recall, Baba was caught in a political struggle. Baba was in Akure, Ondo State, after he had addressed the Presidential Advisory Committee in the National Conference. He had gone to bed, and that was his last act. In the night, he passed on peacefully. For radical elements and socialists of my generation, there was no way you would not have encountered Baba, either in the labor movement, in any of the radical organizations that were formed then, including his involvement in sustaining radical student unionism in our country. So Baba was everywhere. Baba graduated with a set of first-class degree in economics. Baba made first class in economics in the London School of Economics in 1961. While he was in the UK, Baba also studied law. Baba was to have been called to the Inner Temple in 1962, but he had taken part in the anti-apartheid struggle in the United Kingdom. Akabashorun also passed through the London School of Economics. He had graduated in 1958, but refused to be called to the bar there, or rushed back to Nigeria to go to, to be called to the bar. There was no law school then. But Aka was totally committed to the struggle for the liberation of the continent. Akabashorun was then the chairman of Committee of African Organizations. He collaborated with Kwame Nkrumah to write the constitution of many African countries. So these two Nigerians were totally committed to the decolonization of the African continent. So Akan Bashorun had organized the first anti-apartheid conference in London in 1960. Not only did Baba take part, he also took part in demonstrations against the apartheid regime in Southern Africa. For that reason, Baba was arrested and charged in 1961 for participating in a demonstration against the apartheid regime in South Africa. So Baba was convicted. Now, because some of the protesters were alleged to have destroyed public property, the judge asked Baba to apologize. Baba knew the implication. An apology in that circumstance would have meant that he took part in the destruction of public property in the United Kingdom. So Baba refused to apologize. Thus, for that reason, Baba was not called to the Englishman, and he had no regrets whatsoever. He moved on and acquired more knowledge. Particularly, Baba enrolled in the Central School of Planning and Statistics in Poland and was there between 1969 and 1970 before returning to Nigeria. Baba returned to Nigeria and established the ECHO Consultants. This was an economic consultants formed by Baba. The consultancy was originally based in Kano, where Baba became a rallying point. He linked up with the likes of Aminu Kano, Bala Usman, later Balarabe Musa, Rimi, Bobakar Rimi, Tanko Yakasai, and others. First, Gambo Sawaba, the woman leading active. So Baba's house in Kano was a rallying point for all progressive forces. And wherever we also had to travel to Kano for the meeting of the student movement or the Pan-African youth movement, Baba's house readily provided accommodation for. Baba was generous to devote all he had, and he did devote all he had for the socialist transformation of our country. Again, as I said, Baba was involved in practically in all organizations left matter. The 1964 general strike, Baba was the political secretary of the labor leader #1, Comrade Michael Imodu. So he assisted to coordinate and ensure the success of that strike. It may also surprise communities that the Agbekoya, they call it riots in the bourgeois media. Agbekoya, peaceful revolt of 1969 to 1970. Baba again was involved in terms of helping the farmers to put their views across, to campaign for the farmers, and support the struggle of the farmer when it was very dangerous to do so. One thing that will interest you is that Baba had his own way of moving around, that the system found it difficult to arrest Baba and have him prosecuted. Baba was involved in the anti-June 12 struggle, in the establishment Campaign for Democracy, Committee for Defense of Human Rights, name it. You fund Baba directly and indirectly. Why we on the Akabashoni chamber, People's Chamber, Deban Street, Butemeta, Baba at the surface in the chambers. Because of his legal knowledge, we discuss legal issues together. Particularly the political angle, our practice of law. And when the office expanded, Baba moved to the next floor. It's number 23, Geba Street. So we met between him and at the late Alawa Kabashon, there was a relationship that made them like Siamese twins, contributing to our struggle. Students came to Lagos. If they were expelled or suspended, whenever they came to ask for legal support, Baba was there to also render support. If any of those students had to sleep in Lagos, Baba would readily drive them to his Surulere, his house in Surulere. Yeah. So Baba was, I can say, a coordinator of the struggle for our people, for a new Nigeria. And when we were going to have the national conference, planned the national conference in 1990, Baba was one of the prominent members of the Alawa Kabashorun group. But there were two groups that tried to merge or fuse. You had the Asiodu-led group, sponsored by the Babangida junta, who came to us that we should work together. So there was no problem, but it was a battle of ideas. We knew they couldn't defeat us. And we decided to go along. Before Babangida told them, these guys have taken over the national conference, you can't be part of them. Even though they withdrew, we went on, and the regime had to physically stop the national conference that was scheduled to hold between 6th and 9th of September, 1990. So Baba, for many of us, nobody really bothered where Baba came from. Baba had different names. Baba Omojola, Baba Oluwide. So many of us even didn't know Baba's actual name. And it may also surprise many of you that Baba's father was a priest of the Anglican communion and was canon emeritus of the Badon Anglican diocese. I mean, I'm talking of his father. But notwithstanding that, Baba ended up as an Ifa, worshiper. They had the church in the Butemeta, the Ifa, and Baba was a regular caller there. I'm not quite sure. You really could not say that Baba was a fat devotee. I think it was part of his own rebellious attitude to religion, to the Islamic and Christian religion, which Baba believed were imported religions. So Baba deliberately decided to worship Ifa. Hence, our comrade Jibo Ibrahim referred to Baba as son of Kamat and son of Ifa. I'm sure you can know what that meant. But in terms of generosity, Baba was generous too. For him, nobody should suffer if it could be assisted. For Baba, certainly the struggle was his life. And Baba was so individual that our comrades in the south, in the east, and the west could easily relate. One way or the other, Baba traversed the entire country in his contribution to the socialist transformation. So for the family, Baba left a good legacy. Today, if you still mention Baba's name in many circles, particularly in the labor movement, Baba was, yes, he had an economic consultancy group. Baba was also a consultant, like I told you. I mean, it was political secretary to Imudu. Baba was also a consultant to the labor movement in Nigeria for decades. So while Akaba Sharon provided legal services, Baba provided political consultants, political services. And so Baba's place in the history of our country is well reserved. For the family, we thank the family, as I say, for donating Baba to Nigeria. There are many of our people of my generation who knew about Marxism through Baba. He would break it down to the level of your understanding. Baba didn't engage in any esoteric life. Baba was also vast. Baba was very vast in the Yoruba language. Baba translated some of Karl Marx's or Lenin's works for Yoruba. And which you cannot find in any other place. So we can only congratulate the family for supporting Baba in the struggle that he was engaged in. For the widow and the children of Baba, Baba left a legacy and they can be proud of. There are people in this society that upon their demise, people will say, Waku watuku. Huh? But that is not Baba's portion, as Christians will say. That is not Baba's portion. His portion is that of legacy, of commitment to the struggle of the Nigerian. And so, wherever we are gathered like this, Baba remains an inspiration. The best way we can honor the likes of Baba is to rededicate ourselves to the struggle of this country, for the struggle to realize the dreams of Baba and others, which they could not realize in their lifetime. So I thank the family, and I want to commend Akin in particular for keeping Baba's memory alive. This foundation must continue. We pray that it will continue to wax stronger and stronger. We also pray that Baba's ideas will continue to multiply in our society. At a time that our country, majority of our people are undergoing excruciating economic pain. You need to read the works of Baba, particularly his intervention in the economic life of our country. As far as Baba was concerned, the society was divided between the oppressors and the oppressed, the exploiters and the exploited. And that picture has not changed in spite of the campaign of the West to dismiss Marxism. Today, it is more alive than even when Marx and Engels wrote their work. As I did say, in honoring Baba, it shouldn't be a yearly affair. It's a daily affair. But as long as our people continue to suffer, we must remember the warning of Baba, that until we're able to resolve the economic crisis in our country, the majority of our people will continue to live in poverty and destitution. And that is the position today. Therefore, for those of us who want to honor Baba, the best way to do is to live by his side, to ensure that we rededicate ourselves. We need to rededicate ourselves to the struggle of our people for a country where no man is suppressed or exploited. And that can only happen if we embark on the redistribution of the wealth of our country, enormous wealth and resources that should be able to take care of all of us. When these guys, when the Bola Tinubu administration announced the removal of fuel subsidy on May 29, 2020, it did say that the gains of the removal of fuel subsidy will be channeled towards addressing the problems of poverty, unemployment, diseases, and so on and so forth in our country. But today, not only have the federal government and state governments and local governments, not only have they been making more money, the federal government and state governments have continued to take loans, pile up loans for generations yet unborn. A report was presented in the Senate last week. Many of us have not paid attention to it. If Baba were alive, Baba would have subjected that report to serious analysis. And what is the report? A firm of auditors disclosed to the Senate that the money, the funds that have been cornered by the NNPC Limited, the money that has been cornered is in the neighborhood of 210 trillion naira. That is enough to pay all the debts of Nigeria, which are now in the neighborhood of 193 trillion naira. The remaining sum of them will be enough to create jobs, job opportunities, fix our roads, build hospitals for our country. and make this country, make it a country that we can all be proud of. So the resolution for me, my suggestion today is that in honoring Baba, our organizations must join issues with the ruling class, with the government of the day, with the Senate, and all of them, to demand the recovery of the huge sum of money that has been disclosed in the report of the Senate. On our own part, ASCAP, we're writing to the Senate on Monday to demand for a certified true copy, demand a certified true copy of that report so that we can have it circulated to enlighten our people and prepare them for the battle for the recovery of that money. So once again, I would like to thank the foundation that has put this together. While I wish the foundation well, I also believe that there's a task before all of us to make this foundation relevant, to be a center of ideas, which Baba live for, so that we have more books that people can loan, take books from there, return them, we acquire knowledge and return the books. Some of the books here should also be put on the, should have e-copies of these books, particularly the works of Baba, so that we can all learn and develop and broaden our knowledge and horizon. I want to thank you, comrades, for this opportunity to cross-fertilize ideas with you today. Thank you, comrades. Yes.
Really, on behalf of our organization, we thank you. The dedication spirit in all of us. That was a very wonderful presentation. So thank you also for that. So we're going to open the floor now for questions. So please, if you have any questions, for those of us who are online, you can use the, you can use the chat. You can also use raise your hand if you like to speak, right? If you like to speak, you can use the, you can raise your hand electronically. That will call upon you to ask a question. For those of us are here, we are just going to take 3 from the floor here, just 2 questions at that time. So Yeah, quickly. Yes.
Yeah, and for the major, the immediate past state here of Lagos State. Sir, in addition to what he said, sir, we just which I do raise it, I remember that when the federal government took power after 29th of May 2023, when it did announce, less than 2 minutes after it was shown me, subsidy is gone. That was May 29, 2023. And I remember that as a result of that, there was very well going to play, everything went on astronomically. And when Labour and civil society now said they were going to take a protest on 1st of August 2023, it came on here, nationwide television, all of us saw it. And he said, that between May 29, 2023 and the 1st of July 2023, a period of 2 months, that Nigeria, as a result of that thing, has saved over 1 billion naira. Quoting him because they use the back to come here, it was reported secondly. And the question journalists have been asking, 1 billion naira in 2 months. In other words, if people now multiply 2 months in a year, that means after just multiply that 2 months, we had 1 billion. So which means in 12 months, that I see, 3 years multiply that. That's over 20 billion. That's like my own thing about the analysis. But the fact said itself was nationwide tracker of course of August. I remember everyone said that I want to go on strike concerning that. So he said that as a result of trying to let us know we are saving money as a result of that issue. The question is, so what use has that 1 billion at the cost of July 2023? So what use has it been made? So even now we're not talking about more than 3 years after, like our leader said, that because that was put couldn't have been funded. So what use has that amount been made? So that's the question.
My name is Falana. I really appreciate what they do. And like you really pointed out your analysis to us and the of decades of and Baba Omojola was a great and you will recall that information our leader had 210 trillion related development. Your pressure said, pressure, that's part of your pressure and positive. If they can come out to say 210 trillion and then analyze us through the 45 we have known all and we are doing this. Who knows the other of NPC today? Why is it you have privatized maybe our now we are still for that people education of that. You say you have privatized NPC. Yes, NPC is what that like government. Who are the owners? In any limited liability company of PLC, they are one of the directors and workers. Before the struggles they continue. 210 kilo. But then, I am even suspecting that they are being economical for them to repeat 210 kilo shows that that money may be transferred because some of them who are even living and have even cornered because number one means that have made Nigeria productive is that the truth. Apart food is the entire South. We agricultural money, not petroleum. All development you see in Lagos today are also in scattered from the community to civilian. Most of the industrial areas you see in Acme Road, Obarakran, they were the creation of Western region, not the government. Also, this area belongs to Western region. Whereas the Lagos Island, according to them, at that time, was the federal capital. So, my leader, like we also post on the platform of public administration. You see the our leader here. Two, there we mobilize for this event. And that's another challenge. Some of another challenge. your starting point for us to struggle against by uniting ourselves, like we have proposed at the Comrade in light of remembering all our plans, about what I was in for many years. And I was also in the second secretary and 22 years. We are still in the struggle. But what is happening for our youth today, the issue of Yahoo, do not let government and entertainment, do not even let them know that we fight for the emancipation of this country. Very, very important. And before you arrive, as I said, the name of Baba Omojola is too big for this because a lot of people want to participate in it. Some of them can't come this to this way because only and not this. Lot of people. And we have many of our comrades who can even release their comrades because they are here. International president are here. Our comrades are here. So also many other countries, they are all big a lot of this case or where we are planning for the next one. We can make it more bigger so that we also like what of people construction 1,000 person to pay construction when a lot of
Money was money.
yes 10,000 10,000 for construction what's talking about so Baba what the rest of this yes sir and Comrade say something what is civil society organization sir we are different from we are not united. So I want to put it to you what is from this area sir we never speak to one voice. I could remember from election in the situation Lagos State any votation what and for me I will never be part of what I'm praying for each anymore. I pray myself. There's still the reason
Last one, please.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much. Number one, I'm not talking about what Tinubu said now about something like that. No. In April 2023, before May, before the removal, the money shared by the three tiers of government, federal government, state governments, and local government, the total money shared was 655 billion. As of October this year, last month, the money shared was 2.1 trillion. Do you understand me? That is more than 3 times, right? So, apart from the gains of the removal of fuel subsidy, production of crude oil has also improved. So we're making more money. They are taking more loans. But the lot of our people is poverty. So our job is cut out for us. Coming on NNPC, yes, it remains the property of the federal government, even though under the PI, Petroleum Industry Act, the NNPC has been acquired by the Ministry of Finance, right? So the shareholders today are, the main shareholder is the federal government, but they are dancing. They want to privatize it. Can you imagine that a whole country, a whole government cannot fix our ailing refineries after they have spent about $18 billion? The same people can now say that Dangote has built a refinery. So it's not acceptable. But they want to make it so that they can sell the refinery. Obasanjo attempted, he actually sold. But when Yaradua came, because of his own background, we were able to compel him to cancel the sale. These guys are now using their failure. They are looting the money for rehabilitation. They are now blaming us to say these refineries cannot work unless we privatize them. You want to privatize them or whatever you are calling it, we're not going to allow you. You must produce the money with which, they are marked for the fixing of the refinery. Dangote now has producing about, he has the capacity to refine 650,000 barrels a day. Nigeria has capacity then to refine 450,000 barrels per day. Then, if these accumulator bourgeois had not messed us up, we should have doubled that figure to. I'll be talking of at least 1 million barrels refined by Nigeria daily. But they have collapsed. Even that capacity, they now want to privatize. So that they will say, oh, we cannot continue to waste money. Let us return the money, voted for rehabilitation, or turn around, whatever. Again, we must understand, as Baba would have wished us to understand, it was not just removal of fuel subsidy. They also multiply our crisis by devaluing the currency. You know, now they say foreign exchange has stabilized. The economy has stabilized. For who? What they mean is that the exchange rate between Naira and dollar now oscillate between 1,400 and 1,500. That's why they are proud of. Whereas, when I was an undergraduate, when Baba was teaching us rudiments of economy, it was 60 kobo to $1. Not about 60 kobo. The Naira was higher than. Are you? To travel to England and London, the ticket was 400 naira. For those of us who are undergraduate, if you were privileged to go, it's 200 naira. Rebate. And this was, Nigerians were being lifted. Nigeria Airways was open. At its stake, Nigeria Airways had 32 aircraft. We had a shipping line, many ships. For these criminals in power, vagabonds in power, in Fela's world, destroyed them. Today, cannot be proud, like we don't have Nigeria Airways competing with Emirates, Kenya, Ethiopia. So don't accept their excuse. They made Nigerians to be poor. It's not just about removal of fuel subsidy. They complicated the crisis by devaluing our currency. And they are proud. Oh, yes, they will stabilize the economy. For who? For imperialism. Forget this threat of Mr. Trump. Are you with me? What Trump wants? Huh? The main problem that Trump believes that Nigeria is getting too close to China. This is the largest market in Africa. It's one of the largest in the world. If you produce pencil, you can be a multi-millionaire, multi-billionaire. Pencil. Not to talk of Byron, not to talk of this telephone. This one, we have challenged them. China cannot afford not to have the Nigerian market. Okay, let them produce this thing here. All the resources are here, but they are not ready. Are you with me? And then all this their relationship with China. We're not asking you to substitute Western imperialism for Chinese imperialism. China went to the West, sent people to the West to learn technology. Now they are better. So Nigerians should insist. This is our relationship. Should be translated to a change of technology transfer. You understand, Comrade? So that you can live a life of dignity as a people. On the unity of the land, we cannot force it. The programs can unite us. And we must not, none of us must give the impression to them that we understand the society model. We must consult. Wait, you understand? If your organization is, we should protest over any policy of the government, you must consult. Are you with me? Because we all need to respect ourselves. If we don't consult and we don't plan together, you said there's going to be a protest in Lake, maybe the best protest, but we're just reading it in the paper, on pages of newspaper. Are you with me? Some of our people are contesting. Take the Shore is they took part in the local government election. And I insisted to the leaders. You want to contest in Lagos. It's not like contesting in Sokoto or anywhere. You are dealing with advanced criminal elements. Yes. So you need unity of the left, the forces. Can we sit down with them? All the groups. Comrades, our party remains registered. We want to contest local government elections. How can we work together? It's not about sharing money. It's that just monitoring the polling booth. Where are you contesting? How many places? And then collectively we deploy them. So that when they want to carry ballot box or they want to manipulate the figure, people didn't come out. Yet They wrote figures. Are you with me? In these days of technology, we can capture whatever they are doing. You understand? Does everybody speak Yoruba here? Huh? Huh? I will attempt to translate. Huh? When I report you, because snakes don't work together, that's why we can kill them one by one. Do you understand me? If as we are here now, 10 snakes enter, who scatter? If you can jump through the window, you want to pull down the whatever you want to do. If only one comes, comrade, oh yeah, who kill it? But if in Lagos today, if they know that we are united, these guys, they will be in trouble, they will run. Yeah. Now, what do you call it? Enstars was not planned. Are you? In fact, if I can tell you, our Enstars, one guy, see, two-face or whatever, threatened that they were going to demonstrate against police brutality. I just summoned him to Abuja. Are you with me? Yes. And they came out of the meeting and said, no protest again. Are you with me? Another young man, fans, said, we're going to have the protest on so day. He and Run Town or whatever, they just said they wanted to walk from, what do you call it, Lekki to TBS. By the time they got to TBS, they had over 5,000 people following them. And when that was reported through the social media, that was how it started, all over the country. Are you with me? It's not something I would plan. But it would have succeeded more if it had been planned. Are you with me? And they also did something which first will continue to justify. Can tell me that, come. And they say we're asking them, have identifiable leaders. He said, no, sir. No. We call this leaderless revolution. Because I said that we're discussing. We don't know the people that should be our leaders. We haven't worked together. So they can easily bribe them. So it's better that everybody does his own thing. Now, it has its own advantage. You may look at it one way or the other. But what they were afraid of was that the government can bribe a few leaders. Huh? And then they will say, we have called it off. Are you with me? It was not going to fail if the government had not introduced violence. There are other countries, the young Chinese people in Hong Kong, they protested peacefully for over 1 year. Everyone did not collapse, but they achieved their objective. So those guys were willing to continue. Anytime I call my son, don't you think this should be reviewed? Say, Dad, this was why they were defeating your generation. Before anything you said, they have made concession. Which concession now? While we're on defeat, let them make all the concessions. But I can tell you today, and I even try to talk to the young people, unknown to all of us, Enstars achieved a lot. Forget anybody say it's a failure. And I'll tell you this coming. I'll tell you this coming. Today, wherever there is manipulation by the ruling class, whenever torture is being inflicted on any Nigerian, some people will take the picture and circulate it. And the government will be forced to react one way or the other. That started after Enstars. Are you with me? Secondly, today, and this is an area we can popularize our own. We're going to unite, I can assure you. We're going to call a meeting very soon. That was part of the resolution. Losing out of the Aremu. Very well. We have agreed. Very soon, we have already set the engine in motion. Put the engine in motion. And for us, you cannot believe the gains we have recorded collectively. But people are not aware of them. If you start collate those laws, what I call Nigerian welfare laws, it will be a different country. The laws are there. It's for us to insist on implementing them. And I will just tell you a few that will surprise you about NSAS. Under 2 laws now, if a Nigerian is arrested and is taken to the police station, as soon as he gets to that station, the first thing the police must do, or EFCC, anybody, I mean any law enforcement agency, is to ask the suspect, who is your next of kin? Do you have his number? So that they can contact your next of kin. So that they will know you are not by a police station. So the question, we can't find this gentleman yesterday. We're looking for one station to the other. We're going to mortuary, maybe he had an accident, maybe he has kidnapped. No. 2 in that station. Before he makes a statement, they will ask him, do you have a lawyer? No, I don't have a lawyer. Okay. Do you want one? Yes. The government, the police will contact the legal counsel. Somebody is there, he wants a lawyer before making a statement. And you send a lawyer. This one that they say, you can't get a lawyer, they begin to. You don't want them to make a statement, they will torture you. It's illegal now. To torture a suspect, the punishment is 25 years in prison. No option of fine. Are you with me? 3, when the lawyer comes, he will consult you. The police must not listen to your discussion. Okay, the man won't make statement. If he doesn't want to make a statement, like Fela would do, I reserve my statement. Oh, Fela, why don't you write statement? Say no. Whatever, they put it on top of the chat sheet. You know what they put on chat sheet? It was Fela that first told me. They said, look at the chat sheet next time. You are not bound to make a statement. But whatever you say may be used in evidence against you. Well, I said, if they want to use it against me, why should I write for that? Let them do their investigation. But it has now become part of our law. You are not compelled to make a statement. That's a constitutional right. So withhold your statement. Are you with me? Furthermore, the policeman comes to your house. Before he can search your house, you must demand for his warrant, search warrant. Are you with me? Furthermore, you cannot search your phone without a court order. Yes. Yes. I can go on and on. But because we are not aware of these rights, they are in their own law now. Our duty now is to mass educate our people. This is your right. These are your rights when you go to a police station. Of course. Police cannot get involved in land matters, in tenancy matters, in debt recovery. Illegal. You can't say you are looking for Mr. Falana. It's not at home. You arrest his wife or his son. It has become illegal. No substitution of suspect. Arresting in lieu of another person has become banned in Nigeria. Now, you haven't been following this wicked debate. One thing that is being said there, you know, unfortunately, because Nigerians hate wicked and the regime, we're not ready to look at the law. Are you with me? Even though wicked, as usual, very garrulous. Open his mouth too far, too wide. But under the law, as a minister of federal capital, like a governor, he can inspect any land in Abuja, and the occupier must give him the opportunity to do so. Are you with me? We have forgotten that the uniform of a soldier, like the uniform of a policeman, like any uniform, is the same. They are saying if somebody in police uniform, army uniform is like the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is killing rubbish. Fella said it. Uniform na cloth na tailor the swam. That's over 40 years ago. And that's what we are saying now. You are only an ordinary citizen. So we are saying a minister, even the president, I said it, has no power to insult a Nigerian. You can't call a Nigerian a fool. Somebody you have never met him before. How do you know that he's a foolish man? But in order to humiliate him, but under the law, Section 34 of the Constitution, Nigeria is entitled to the dignity of his person. Are you with me? 2, you cannot say you are a senior officer. You are reducing a commission officer to a megad. Come and guard my land. No, it's not the work of the military. And please, comrades, the military must be brought under the control of civil authority. We're in a civilian government. So what that general who owned the land ought to have done was to go to court against Wike. When Wike got there and got his sister, he should have gone to court. My Lord, there is a plot of land. I want to do my work by inspecting. They didn't allow me. And the court will give him order. But you can't sit down. No, you can't sit down like Lagos and say, government in Alausa, that this land is under electricity wire or whatever they call it, tension, whatever, high tension. You decide in your ministry. You then move your demolition squad. And you get like a Woroshoki in the dead of the night. Go there at 9:30 p.m. 10 p.m. people were already asleep. They tear gas the whole place to wake people up. They woke people up and they started in the dead of the night. And in a few hours, they reduced the place to rumble, like Gaza. Meanwhile, under the constitution, all actions of government shall be humane. Are you? So we only now need to mobilize our people. When we set up our own organization, we have a space through the social media where they can contact us to take up their battle, their strength. And before you know it, we can't be an individual effort, but be collective so that we can take the benefits. So if anybody tells you, inside they just wasted our time, nonsensical. They say that to discourage people from you. But after that, you have had the end-ship protest. Up to now, not less than 11 people are still transient trial for treason for that protest. But that will not discourage Nigerians from protesting. So, comrades, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I hope very soon. Who is that? Okay, good. Thank you.
In our people's chamber, I also remember when they were taking and after that, at this library, you know, we are moving this library because we can talk too much about what about the Baba had a library called 28 Girls Library. And if you look at a lot of the books here, you will see them stamped 28 Girls Library. And these books were there. They are very useful books, not just in terms of ideological education, whatever, but practical human rights, constitutional, economic, gender issues. And we feel, the library is very underused. With all the, of course, we are getting more stuff. The other day, Comrade Femi Falana donated some books, and we are getting more books and so on. But we need to make the library be used. It's here for people on the left, and also our young generation. So we want people to actually spread the word and to support. And of course, we have to finance the library, so we'll be doing fundraising because our rent will be due very soon. But this is all part of having a center, the type of the work that we are going to do going forward. It is very important to have such a center for resources and for people to connect and to also educate our young generation who are coming up. So that is one major reason why we had this event today, because we want people to know about this library. So call on everybody to help us to support. And once again, thank you very much for Femi Falana for honoring us today. Thank you. You can go ahead with your solidarity.
All right, comrades, thank you for joining us. We are closing now. Thank you very much. If you have any further questions, you can reach us on our social media platforms. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day.